Hi everybody, I'm Megan. Welcome back to my channel, Skipping Stitches. As always, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here with me today. Thank you for being here, thank you for watching, and thank you all so much for your support and your comments. I've really enjoyed reading all your comments recently, and I will always try to get back to you and reply as much as I can. So today I am going to be talking to you about me. I've had lots of people asking questions about me, and so I posted a little poll on my Instagram channel at Megan Sews Stuff. I'll pop that up just as a reminder, and I thought it might be a nice opportunity for you all to get to know me a little bit and why I'm a sewer, that kind of thing. I've got some questions written down here, and yeah, so I'll start off first of all telling you what I'm wearing today. It's actually a bit cheeky for me to be wearing this. This is a pattern test that I've been working on. I think I referred to it during my last vlog. I'm pattern testing for Chalk and Notch at the minute, who are one of my favourite companies. I do love their patterns. They come in cup sizes. They have amazing instructions, clear diagrams. Often they have sew-alongs too, which I always find really useful because I am definitely a visual learner. So yeah, this is a tank vest top from their new pattern. I think it's called, is it called the Wren? I'll pop it up for you because I can't, no, Tess, it's called Tess. I'll pop it up for you. It's not launched yet though, okay? So just bear that in mind. This is still in the test phase. So there are a couple of little fit issues are still to be addressed. This is the sleeveless tank with the low neck, excuse me, and the low back, which I think is really pretty. And I've made it in a ponte, stripy ponte, and I love it. So at the minute there are a few issues with a little bit of gaping around the arm, and the neckband's a little bit too long. I don't know if you can tell from here, it's not quite sitting as flat as I would like it to. What I have done is I have top stitched down the seam allowances, and I used some stretchy Maraflex thread for that. Get some for you actually to show you. If you haven't used Maraflex before, it's great. It's a Gutermann thread, and it's a little bit more expensive than your normal polyester thread, but I don't think you'll be able to see. It's stretchy, so it's magic. It doesn't have a ginormous amount of stretch, so I wouldn't probably use it on anything really stretchy like a swimsuit. I mean, other people might, but I don't think it's got quite enough for that. But I've used it quite a lot on things like this. So, you know, often if you are top stitching on a knit garment, you have to do a zigzag or a twin needle. But with this, you can just do a nice straight stitch, and it's really easy, really neat. As neat as it can be. My top stitching needs work, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, so I really rate this for things like that. So yeah, so ponte, tank, I kind of like it. The fit's pretty good on me apart from that. I think the pattern will be released quite soon, and I would highly recommend it. It has loads of options. So you can have a high neck, which I've also made, and I'll share the finished garments, you know, the pictures on my Instagram when it is released. So there's a high neck, high back, low front, low back, high front. There's one with sleeves, and you can also make it in a dress, which I really want to do. It's a long, straight fitted dress with slits at the side. And I think that would be really handy. And it would be pretty versatile in terms of seasons, because you could make the sleeved one for the sort of autumn. You could have the tank version like this for the summer. Yeah, great little pattern. And I reckon it's one that people will go back to again and again, because we all need t-shirts, don't we? We all need well-fitting t-shirts in our wardrobe. Well, I do, that's for sure. So anyway, that's what I'm wearing today. So let's get on with some questions. This feels a bit indulgent just talking about me, but hopefully it will help. I know I like to get to know people when I follow them, and it's interesting to kind of know a little bit about people's background and their journey. You already know my name, I'm Megan. I recently turned 50, lucky me, and I have got 3 children, all in their teens. Well, one of them's just left their teens actually, he's at uni, and I live with my husband, my children, and my Labrador. So I've got quite a busy life. I do work as well. I am a nurse. I only work part-time for my own sanity, really. I won't go into the state of the NHS these days, but yeah, I work for the NHS and I love my job. I love what I do, but I do need time out. And sewing is part of that. Sewing really is my therapy. It sounds a bit cliche, but it honestly is. And that kind of answers one of the first questions I was asked: why did I start sewing? So, actually, looking back, I grew up in a household of sewers. My mum used to make our clothes for us when we were kids. Me and my sister used to have little matching gingham school dresses. She knitted our cardigans. Everything was homemade. And I think that was partly a generational thing, but my mum was definitely very crafty. And I have got memories of sewing scissors lying around the house and sewing machines. And even actually, when I was a teenager and mum wasn't sewing so much then, she used to occasionally make little things. I used to have quite an alternative style as a teenager, and mum would help indulge that and make me things that were a bit unusual and fitted my slightly goth style as a teenager. So yeah, I grew up around sewers, and my sister did A-level fashion and design, and she also went to what was night school at the time to learn how to make clothes. I was just not interested. I've got to say it never appealed to me. I never once asked how to, I didn't know how to sew a button on until recently. It just didn't appeal to me. Um, and for whatever reason, that stayed the case until sadly my mum passed away about 7 years ago now. Um, and that was a really difficult time, as you can imagine. The grief was hard to handle for various reasons. And I needed something to focus my mind and switch off all the sort of mental health problems, I guess, I was going through. My mum left me her old sewing machine, a very old Janome, and I don't know why. I just thought I wanted to learn. I just decided one day let's have a go. And a very good friend of mine is an excellent sewist, so I got in touch with her and said, "Can you show me how to use this machine?" I literally did not know how to do anything. So she had the patience of a saint, believe me. I didn't know how to put the needle in, how to thread the bobbin. I didn't know how to work. I didn't know anything. So one day I pitched up at her house with this old sewing machine, which was due a service and not the best, but and Fiona, bless her, very patiently talked me through how to set it up, how to use it. And I found that that entire time when we were doing that, not once was I focused on the grief and the anxiety that I was struggling with from my mum's death. And yeah, it was amazing actually. So, you know, going forward a little bit from there, I didn't just instantly start sewing. I had to sort of build up my confidence and my skills, and I did put the sewing machine away again for a little while. And then I thought, you know what, I really want to tackle this. I really want to. It helped me mentally. I enjoyed the process. So once again, called on my friend, and she just chucked me in at the deep end. I went round and she had a load of Tilly and the Buttons patterns, which I would really recommend for anyone starting out. Tilly patterns are amazing. And I have also got lots of her books. They're on the shelf behind me, so I won't get up, but I will pop them up on the screen if you haven't ever seen them. They are brilliant, and they contain patterns that you can trace off. And the instructions, the photographs, the sew alongs, they're just top notch. And I really felt that those patterns held my hand. So I think the very first pattern we did was the Tilly and the Buttons Bettine dress, which is actually, I think, quite adventurous for my first ever thing. It's got an elastic waist, scoop neck, little cute, it's a really cute little dress. And the reason I chose it is because I knew it was something that I would wear at the time. So I'll see if I can find a photo for you to show you. I look very different. I have brown hair and I was a lot younger, but I was so proud of that dress and I loved the feeling that came from saying, look, I made this. How cool, you know, it was just pretty cool to be able to say that. And that is where it started. I think once I had my first dress that I'd made, well, I say I made it myself. Fiona did a lot of it for me and helped me a lot. But yeah, from there on inwards where it started. And then I just gradually got more and more confident, started playing around at home, trying other Tilly patterns, buying the books, like I said. And yeah, it became a bit of an obsession. If I'm being honest, I would say I'm a bit obsessed with sewing these days. So yeah, losing mum was part of it, and to this day, sewing is definitely still my safe space, my place I go to when I'm stressed. The last few weeks for me have been really busy and a little bit stressful, and my gut instinct is I just want to get sewing because it just helps calm my mind, my thoughts, it makes me sleep better, and it just switches off all the noise around me. All I'm focusing on is the project I'm doing, the hum of the machine. I tend to sew in silence, actually. I know a lot of people have music or podcasts on. I sew in silence and I like it that way. Um, so, yeah, hopefully that's answered that question for you. One of the next questions is, well, yeah, they're kind of similar. They're kind of interlinked. So it's how long have you been sewing and what encouraged you to start sewing? So I think I've answered both of those in that one question, in that one answer for you there, hopefully. If I haven't, feel free as always to leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. Another one is, who's my favorite pattern company and why? Which is really hard to answer because I have so many and for different reasons. I was thinking about this earlier and I thought actually I might have to base this answer on the pattern company that I've sewed the most patterns from, if that makes sense. And I would say True Bias, I have pretty much all of their patterns minus one or two. I think I have nearly all of their patterns and I've sewn them all and I repeat sew a lot of them. So when I was talking through some of my favourite summer patterns a few weeks back, a load of them were True Bias. So like the Ogden cami, the Maeve skirt, the Marlowe cardigan. I love the Marlowe cardigan. I think I have 5 of them and I've got fabric down here for another one, a little pink one for the autumn. True Bias Danny trousers. I think I've literally made pretty much all of their patterns and I love them. They fit me on the whole and yeah, I like them. They're good instructions and that's really important to me. So even though I'm fairly experienced in sewing now, I still like instructions. I find some pattern companies' instructions really confusing. I won't name them, but I did a pattern test recently for another company, not the Chalk and Notch, they're awesome. And I found the instructions so confusing. They were jumping all over the place and it just muddles my head. I don't know if it's a menopausal thing, but I need clear, concise instructions. Yeah, I find when they're jumping from one place to another or that they're kind of leaving some of the guesswork to me, I get in a bit of a jumble. So I really appreciate companies that give you those and you just don't, it takes the hard work out of it, doesn't it? And for the same reason, that's why I love Helen's Closet as well. I've made a lot of her patterns over the years and again they're brilliant, and even the slightly more complex ones. So I made her new pattern last year, the Spindrift jacket, which is a slightly more involved make, but I wasn't phased about the idea of tackling it because I knew that there would be good clear instructions. There wasn't a sew along at the time, but somebody had done a YouTube vlog about her journey of making it, so I could kind of look on that and see how she'd done certain parts of it. And it was just, it was a joy. And I think for me, sewing needs to be enjoyable. It needs to be something that you don't get stressed too much when you're doing it. I think we all have our moments when things go wrong. But yeah, if I've got clear instructions and I'm not getting jumbled and stressed along the way, it's a winner for me. So True Bias, Helen's Closet, Closet Core, actually, they're another brilliant one. I have loads of their patterns. I like the finishes. They often have some nice techniques and some nice finishes. So yeah, I mean, they may be a bit predictable because I know they're all very popular, but they're probably the top 3 that I have the most patterns from. And Chalk and Notch as well, actually. So maybe it's top 4, probably in the order that I've said it though. So yeah, there's lots. There's so many pattern companies out there. I don't tend to buy the big 4. I don't like them. So I tend to avoid them. I tend to avoid Style Arc as well, if I'm being honest. I've got 1 or 2 of their patterns. I do love their style, but very much dislike their instructions. And I haven't got the time and energy to spend a lot of money on a pattern that gives me a headache. so yeah, there we have it. Okay, so another question I was asked was about photographing makes. So somebody very kindly commented and said that I take great photos, which is a huge compliment because it's something I'm always striving to perfect and something I'm still learning. You know, I'm definitely not a photographer. I'm no expert. I think I'm just winging it. But for me, what has been really helpful in upping my game with photography has been having a good tripod, which I'm using at the minute to film this, with a good light. Lighting is absolutely everything. So being in a bright light room, my sewing space here is actually a corner of my utility room, believe it or not. It's a very small corner that isn't used anymore. So I've got washing machines, tumble dryers, sinks over here in the corner, which you can't see, thankfully. But also I've got windows all around me and a big glass door here. So loads and loads of light comes in here. And so often I will use this room to take my photographs. If the sun is shining, it just gives such a nice shadow and a nice glow to the skin. People also talk about the golden hour, which is in the evening when the sun's starting to set and the sky goes that sort of golden colour. That's a brilliant time of night to take photographs, outdoors especially, but also indoors. So capturing the right light, I think, makes a really big difference. Using the tripod, and I also have a little clicker, so I can be sort of posing, moving around the room and clicking, so it's more natural. I feel if I just stand still, smile and take a photo, it looks a bit fake and unnatural. Whereas if I'm moving around as if I'm just talking to friends, if I'm, you know, going on a walk, those photos always come across better, and actually they tend to get a better reach and more likes on Instagram. So there, I think that, you know, that is important. What else? I guess one of the things I thought would be a good thing is just getting to know your phone. So if you take your photographs on your phone like I do, I use an iPhone 16, so it's one of the latest ones, and it does have a pretty good camera on it. Actually, if you start searching through all the different functions within the camera, there are a lot. You can change your background, you can, you know, up the what do you call it, the saturation of the light, you can filter things in and out, you can give yourself a nice little glow. You can really play around, you know, with different images. So you can add black and white, sepia. Oh, there's honestly, there's so many options. I don't even know half of them, but I do try and play around with it to get a better look. I often take photos in portrait mode because that helps to blur out the background and focus on me a bit more, or my garment, whatever I'm wearing. So yeah, there's a few things for me, but like I said, I am not an expert. I am not a photographer. That is just what works for me at the minute, and I am always striving to do better. So, you know, play around, find things that work and make a note of them, and then hopefully you'll start to get better pictures soon too. So really interesting question, that one, I thought. Okay, and what's my favourite ever garment? That's hard. Favourite ever garment, me-made garment, that means. I sew quite prolifically and have got pretty much an entire wardrobe of handmade clothes. So that is really hard to sort of pin down to one thing. I think my Helen's Closet spindrift jacket that I made last year is one of my most worn, and I'm quite proud of it because I think I got a really nice finish on it. So maybe that. I don't know. It's a really hard one. I have so many. I love all my swishy, pretty dresses and things, but I think ultimately the ones that I've put the most love and attention to detail in are the ones that I am probably the most proud of. So I'm going to say my spindrift jacket. I also have a Tilly and the Buttons sunny jacket that's all lined, and I do love that and wear that a lot. Both jackets, interestingly. And a tote bag. I'll try and pop that up for you. It's the Sotak Portland tote bag, which was a Guthrie and Garney kit a year or two ago. I think it was one of the first bags I ever made, and it wasn't easy, and it came out so good. It looked quite professional. I'm pretty chuffed with that, and again, I use that all the time. It's lasted me so well. So there we go. I'll use those as my top three. So my Sotak Patterns Portland tote bag in wax canvas, my Tilly and the Buttons sunny jacket, which I made in a lovely wool, and then my Helen's Closet spindrift jacket. They're my top three. So there we go. There's my answers for you for now. And I hope it's been interesting for you, getting to know me, getting to know a little bit about why I do what I do. And I would love to get to know you all as well. So tell me about yourselves in the comments. If you follow me on Instagram, you can message me and tell me what you want to tell me. That would be lovely. I've just spotted out the corner of my eye behind me my crab fabric. I didn't tell you why that's hanging up there. It's meant to be a reminder, but I almost forgot. I've started my saltwater slip dress. Yeah, I haven't got that far. Let me grab it. Hopefully my dummy won't fall over this time. So yeah, I've cut it all out and I have done my acres and acres of binding, which is a bit tedious, but I have used this, which has helped a little bit. I've done a little film, which I will either pop up here or I will do as a separate little video, but I've done a little film of me doing this. It's really hard to film because it's so small and fiddly, but it did help. I think that my binding was ever so slightly wider than this, so it got stuck in a couple of places, but I've got loads of binding and it was quicker than normal, so that was good. This is my back part of my dress so far. Not a lot to see here. I've stay stitched my necklines on my front and my back pieces because it's all going to have bias binding around it, so it needs to be stabilized to stop it from stretching out. I forgot it's got a center seam down the back of this, which was a bit of a pain. You can see the inside. I've just stitched it and overlocked. I've overlocked the edges separately because I just think it will sit better on this fabric. But yeah, I forgot about the center seam, so actually my pattern matching isn't ideal at the back. It's okay, but I have got, yeah, it's all right there, but at the top here I've got a bit of a crab missing. Never mind. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. So the back is done. The front is cut out. My bias tape is ready. I just need to start constructing it. And I think the first thing I need to do, it's got like bra straps on it almost with sliders. My sliders haven't arrived yet, so I can't do my straps, and that's the next part. So I need to wait for them to arrive. I'll attach my straps, and then I think it'll be really plain sailing. It's literally just stitching the binding on, and it's got a side slit as well. So hopefully it won't be difficult. It's just going to be a bit time consuming with all the binding. But, you know, this fabric is everything, isn't it? I cannot wait. I mean, the weather's turning, so it might be that I'll be wearing a t-shirt or something under this. Speaking of t-shirts, I'm off on one today. I need some plain white t-shirt fabric just to make a really nice sort of not tight fitting, like semi loose fitting t-shirt to wear under things like this slip dress. Just a nice weight white cotton jersey with not too much stretch. If you know anywhere that sells a really good sort of, I want something that's you know, a nice quality. So if you know somewhere that sells a nice quality white cotton jersey with not too much stretch, just the right amount of stretch for a loose fitting t-shirt, let me know, because I always struggle. There's loads of beautiful fabric shops that I shop from. I have lots of favorites, and I don't think I've seen quite the right thing I want in any of them. So let me know in the comments. That would be really, really helpful. Thank you. Appreciated. And I think that's it from me for now. It's a sewing bee tonight, so I look forward to watching that, and maybe we can chat about that next time. And in the meantime, thank you for listening. Thank you for following. Please subscribe, and I will see you all soon. Bye.